It started as an ordinary summer morning on a quiet countryside road. The sky was painted in soft hues of blue and gold, and the wind danced gently across the fields of wheat. But then there was a sound, not of engines or birds, but a low, mournful howl. When the first car stopped, people thought it was just a stray dog sitting in the middle of the road. But the longer they watched, the more they realized something wasn't right. The German shepherd sat perfectly still, his eyes locked on a single point in the distance, his tail slightly wagging, yet his body trembling. And though cars honked and people shouted for him to move, he wouldn't. It was as if he was waiting for someone who would never return. If you believe in kindness, loyalty, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Every story we tell honors the silent heroes who remind us that love, especially from an animal, never fades. For days, the shepherd remained there. People in the nearby village started calling him Shadow because he appeared every dawn and vanished at dusk, only to return the next day to sit on the same spot, the faded white line in the middle of the asphalt. Farmers drove past, school buses honked, and curious travelers slowed down to watch him. Some tossed food and water his way, which he accepted politely, but never moved far from his place. He didn't chase cars, didn't bark at strangers, didn't even seem to sleep, just sat there staring at the horizon as though guarding something sacred. One morning, a group of students traveling for a community project noticed the dog and stopped. They were led by a retired biology teacher named Mr. Harlan, a gentle old man who'd seen enough of life to know when something carried a story. "That dog isn't lost," he murmured to his students as he approached. "He's waiting." The shepherd lifted his head and gave a soft whimper, not fearful but pleading. There was something in those eyes, deep, aching sorrow mixed with stubborn hope. Mr. Harlan tried to coax him away, offering bits of sandwich, but the dog only sniffed the air and returned to his fixed gaze down the road. As days turned to weeks, villagers began to talk. Some said the dog had been abandoned there. Others whispered he was guarding a memory. A woman from a nearby farmhouse recalled hearing screeching tires and a loud crash on that road months ago. When rescuers had come, there'd been nothing left but shattered glass, torn metal, and a patch of burned grass. No survivors. The memory faded, as all tragedies do in small towns, but when Shadow appeared soon after and claimed that same spot, many wondered if it was connected. Curiosity soon turned to compassion. Locals began leaving food bowls by the roadside. Children brought blankets when it rained. Yet no matter how hard anyone tried, Shadow wouldn't leave. Even the animal shelter workers couldn't lure him into their van. The dog would resist bark and run a few feet away, only to sit back down on that same white line again. It was as though invisible chains bound him there. One evening, as the sun sank into the fields, Mr. Harlan returned. He'd grown deeply, invested in Shadow's story, and brought a small stool to sit nearby, quietly watching the shepherd. After hours of silence, he noticed something he hadn't before. Shadow wasn't just looking down the road. Every few minutes, he would glance toward a small patch of dirt near the roadside, where wildflowers had begun to grow. Mr. Harlan followed his gaze and noticed something half-buried, a glint of metal, perhaps part of a car. Carefully he brushed the soil aside and uncovered a small name tag attached to a broken piece of leather. The engraving read, "Buddy, Service Dog of Mark Taylor." Mr. Harlan froze. He remembered the accident now. It had involved a young, war veteran named Mark Taylor, known for his kindness and his loyal service dog who had saved his life twice overseas. Locals had mourned Mark's death after his car spun off the road during a rainstorm, but no one had realized Buddy had survived. Tears welled in the old man's eyes as he pieced it together. Buddy had crawled from the wreck, wounded but alive. and had returned to the only spot he remembered, waiting for his best friend to come back. Through scorching days and freezing nights, through storms and hunger, he'd stayed there, guarding the road that had taken Mark away. Word spread like wildfire. Reporters came, people wept, and strangers from miles away arrived to see the dog who refused to forget his human. But for all their pity and praise, Buddy remained the same, silent, loyal, immovable. Even when animal rescuers tried again to take him to a shelter, he whined, struggled, and ran back to his post. Finally, Mr. Harlan decided to let him be. "He's not lost," he said quietly. "He's home, at least where his heart is." As time passed, the town began to build something around that patch of road, not to keep Buddy in, but to keep him safe. They placed warning signs, slowed traffic, and even set up a small wooden cross where Mark had died. Underneath it, a plaque read, "True love never leaves, it waits." Buddy often lay beside that cross, head on his paws, eyes always scanning the horizon. Then one cold morning, Buddy didn't rise. Mr. Harlan found him lying peacefully by the cross, his body still and calm, as though he had finally found what he was waiting for. The villagers buried him right there, beside Mark's memorial, under the same tree that had witnessed his vigil. The story of Buddy spread far beyond the little town, a testament to loyalty that even death couldn't break. Weeks later, someone noticed something remarkable. New wildflowers had sprouted over Buddy's grave, white and gold, like the colors of his fur. They grew in perfect shape around the spot where he lay, and every year after that, they bloomed brighter, no matter how harsh the winter. Locals said it was a sign that love once planted never dies, never. Mr. Harlan often visited that spot until his own passing years later. And every time someone new stopped to ask about the small memorial on the roadside, the townsfolk would tell the story of the dog who never forgot his best friend, and how his love reminded them of something humans often forget, that loyalty is not about how long you wait, but how deeply you care. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales, because somewhere out there, another loyal soul is waiting for someone to come back. Special request: tell us in the comments below, what's the most loyal thing your pet has ever done for you?